Grodno is a city on the banks of the Neman, one of the most beautiful Belarusian rivers. It's an ancient city which is often called royal. Stately castles, graceful cathedrals and impressive churches attract numerous tourists to Grodno. It's so easy to fall in love with this city, daydreaming on the high bank near Kaloja Church and breathing in the mixture of almost 900 years of the city's history.
But during those years, Grodno has also witnessed the horrors of several wars. Memory of the latest of them, the Great Patriotic War, is carefully kept by annual parades and meetings with veterans whose number is going down with each passing year. In the city there are a lot of memorials connected with the war, which are carefully looked after. We want to tell you about some of them.
The mass grave of the Soviet soldiers and partisans in Grodno is a memorial complex located at the entrance to Želibir Park. It was opened in 1949. Earlier on this site there was a burial of 50 soldiers and officers who gave their lives during the Great Patriotic War. The defenders' names are inscribed in golden letters on the monument. Among them you can find the hero of the Soviet Union, Olga Sanfirova, and partisan Olga Solmova, whose names are immortalized in Grodno Street. At the base of the obelisk there is a figure of a grieving Soviet soldier who holds a half-mast flag in his hand. In 1984 an internal flame was lit at the foot of the monument.
Grodno Military Cemetery is one of the oldest cemeteries in the city, established in 1888. It is located in Bely Street. There are more than 8,000 people buried in mass and personal graves here. The Russian and Soviet soldiers killed during the First and the Second World Wars, as well as some Polish and German soldiers. On the territory of the cemetery there is also a memorial to the defenders of Grodno. On the white slabs of the mass grave there are several dozen names of the soldiers and officers killed during the war. You can also find here the alley of heroes whose names are inscribed in golden letters on red granite slabs. A slender birch tree is planted next to each slab. The memorial is known far beyond Grodno.
On the edge of Sovetskaya Square there is a monument to soldier liberator's tank T-3485. It was erected in memory of the soldiers who participated in the liberation of Grodno on the 16th of July 1944. The tank monument is a symbol of true might and spirit strength of the Soviet people and still remains one of the most famous and beloved city sites.
Stalag 324 concentration camp exists in Grodno from 1941 to 1942 on the territory of Polish. On the area of almost 15 hectares there were 96 dugouts where fascists kept their prisoners of war from the Eastern Front. The living conditions in the camp were horrible. Every day hundreds of people died there because of starvation, wounds, illnesses and tortures. About 36,000 prisoners were kept in Stalag during the 2 years of its existence, and 18,000 people were buried in mass graves. In December 2007 numerous human remains were found during the reconstruction of Polish. Due to the fact that the German troops carefully masked the traces of their crimes during their retreat, it was difficult to find the graves. A lot of search work was conducted. The soldiers' remains were buried at our cemetery. On the site of Stalag a memorial complex was erected.
The monument to the bodyguards in Grodno is a memorial complex to the soldiers who fought against the German fascist invaders during the First War days. It was opened on the 22nd of June 2004. The money for the memorial was donated by bodyguards from Belarus, Kazakhstan, Russia, Moldova and Kyrgyzstan. In the center of the memorial you can see the composition, Body on Fire. The bodyguards are standing shoulder to shoulder, symbolizing the courage of the Soviet soldiers who were the first to take the enemy's blow. The inscription on the pedestal says, "The dead but not defeated soldiers of the Belarusian border district." An interesting element of the composition is 15 border poles, one for each country that was a part of the USSR. They remind us that soldiers from all parts of the Soviet Union participated and died during the terrible events of the First War days.
The Mount of Glory meets the guests of the city at the very entrance to Grodno. It's a memorial complex honoring Soviet soldiers who fought during World War II. It was established in 1969. The soil for the mount was brought from 83 mass graves of the heroes of the Soviet Union, soldiers of the Red Army and partisans from all the districts of Grodno Region. Nowadays, the memorial complex has turned into a real shrine and an open-air museum with the Alley of Heroes, the Eternal Flame and an exhibition of military equipment and armament. It's a popular place for patriotic events. According to the tradition, newlyweds lay flowers to the Eternal Flame in gratitude to the brave soldiers who gave their lives for our peaceful future.
At the beginning of the war, the Jews accounted for almost half the urban population of Grodno. After the occupation of the city, the Nazis organized two Jewish ghettos, which exist from November 1941 to May 1943. During this period, more than 42,000 prisoners lived there, 20,000 of which died because of inhuman living conditions, hard labor and executions. The Great Synagogue of Grodno was on the territory of Ghetto No. 1. It was a gathering spot for the Jews before they were transferred to concentration camps. Now it houses a Jewish museum. In 1991, at the entrance to the territory of the former Ghetto No. 1 in Zamkovoye Street, a memorial plate was erected to remind us of the Jews of Grodno and nearby settlements killed by the Nazis.
The Great Patriotic War had no pity to anybody. It ruined houses, lives and families. It didn't bypass our families either. Victory Soldiers Memorial Museum was opened in May 2015 to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the victory in the Great Patriotic War. The museum is located on the premises of the secondary school number 33. Our museum is dedicated to the participants and veterans of the Great Patriotic War, who are the relatives of the staff and the students of our school and who personally contributed to the struggle against fascism.
Its exposition shows all the main periods of the war, from the defensive battles in summer 1941 to the defeat of Nazi Germany in 1945. Looking at the personal belongings and clothes, reading letters and memoirs of the war eyewitnesses make it easier for us to understand what they, soldiers of the Great Patriotic War, were.
It is hard to imagine how they could survive, win and still remain humans. We honor their memory and the mortal heroic.
We are proud of living on this sacred and heroic land, and we will do our best to value our homeland and take care of its prosperity. Remembering its roots, Grodno is confident in its future.
Grodno is definitely worth visiting. You can walk along its narrow streets, admire the scenery of the magnificent Tema and numerous historical monuments.
You are sure to find something to your taste and fall in love with this wonderful city at first sight.